Hey, what's up everybody? This is Kevin at MyoFire. Today we're going to do some foam rolling. Going to use our 36-inch high density roller, and we're just going to go over some basic stuff today, nothing crazy. And basically what my belief in the foam rolling is, one of the theories that I really believe, is that we're just, focusing on the nerve receptors. So some people think it's myofascial release. No, it's more we're stimulating that nervous system. We're telling those nerve receptors it's time to work, loosen up. Brain and nerves and muscles are starting to talk. So that's what I believe is really happening. And there's a lot of people who believe that theory as well. A lot of people in the sports performance world. Again, not really so much as myofascial release, but more nervous system stimulation. So that's what I want you to think of. So we're just going to go over a bunch of different things. First move I like to kneel right on top of the roller. I like to wiggle back and forth right on that patella ligament. And if you see, my feet are going back and forth. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Now, trying to get some space behind that kneecap. Some of you who have crunchy, grindy, chondritis-y type knees, this may help that a little bit. And I wiggle around, and I'm going to spend about 30 seconds on each thing that we're doing. So, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And again, this feels really good. The next movement we're going to do, we're going to roll the tibialis, muscle that runs on the front of that shin. Anterior tibialis. So that's going to help with ankle and plantar flexion. Ugh. Brain's not working 100% yet there. We're getting there. Waking up, along with my muscles. All right, so now we're going to go into our tibialis. So this one's a little bit more difficult, a little bit more challenging. So I stabilize using my upper body, obviously. I get that roller right on that shin. A lot of you are going to be in a lot of pain when you do this. And you're going to wiggle around side to side. The upper camera, you can probably see a little bit better of what I'm doing. I'm just going to wiggle, wiggle, move up and down. Again, we are just stimulating that nervous system, getting ready for some work. Going to do the other tibialis, anterior tibialis. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Back and forth. Now, some of you may not have the upper body strength to hold it up for this long. You can do it other ways. We'll go into that in another video. But if you're starting to fatigue, just take a break until we go to the next movement. All right, so now we're going to go down to our quads. Going to roll those quads. So I go down to my forearms. I get much better control being on my forearms. I also like to kick back and forth, scissor kicking, getting some cross fiber friction going. I turn my toes out. I turn them in. I try to hit as much of that quad muscle as possible. Back and forth. Top of that kneecap, all the way up the hip. Another thing I like to do, a little pin and stretch. So I start up by the patella, by that kneecap. And I sit here, then I kick my butt. So we're pinning down on that muscle. We're kicking, stretching that muscle, opening up. If there's anything really stuck, this may be breaking it up. Down a little bit more. Kick the butt. Down a little bit more. Kick the butt. Down a little bit more. Kick the butt. Okay. Now, let's flip it on over. We're going to go into the glutes. I did a lot of glute work yesterday, so I'm sore. I am feeling this. You will see my face light up. I'll probably turn red and start sweating because it hurts a lot. All right, so I just like to sit right on the roller, kind of almost Indian style, holding my legs. We're going to wiggle back and forth. Whew, this is a killer today. Wiggle, 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 back and forth. Then we're going to stack one leg up. So we're going to bring one leg up. We're going to lean on, I'm starting with my right glute, so I raise my right leg on top of my left knee. And we're wiggling, finding that soft, tender area. Holy cow, that is a killer. And the lower down you get, more glute. You can get into the TFL, getting those hips ready for some work. Whew, that is rough. All right, I'm going to shift over to the other side. Oh, this side's worse. Holy mackerel. Whew, that is intense. Again, we're getting that nervous system working. Getting the brain, those nerve receptors talking to each other, telling those muscles to loosen up. Holy cow. Yeah, this is no joke today. Oh, like I say, the lower you get, the more deep into the hip, glute medius, minimus, TFL. Oh, man. All right. Enough of that. Now I'm going to go into those hamstrings. So, again, I like to do some cross fiber friction, wiggle those legs back and forth, get some scissor kicks going, back and forth. That's it. My hamstrings aren't too bad today. I thought they'd be a lot worse. My adductors are going to be interesting today. All right, let's move it to those calves. So, I like to, again, wiggle back and forth, get some cross fiber friction going. And I keep my butt on the ground as I wiggle, slide up and down. Get those calves moving. A lot of ankle rotation I do here, in and out. I just change it up. Yeah, these are feeling it. I've been doing a lot of incline walking on the treadmill, trying to get my calves. You guys will know my story about my calves in no time, my little babies. Trying to get them bigger. I'm going to do it. Okay, I'm going to stack up the calf. Lifting up my body a little bit more, getting a little deeper. Whew. Off to the side, or what are called your peroneal muscles. Get these guys as well. Oh, yeah. Again, anybody who has hip issues, that could also be coming from your ankles. Ankle mobility is incredibly important. When you don't have a lot of ankle mobility, it affects the body, especially in performance. So people who have a hard time squatting, could be your ankle mobility that's really holding you up. I need to do a whole series on ankle mobility for everybody. That's going to be coming in the future. All right. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to be getting into the hip flexor. That's psoas, iliopsoas, those muscles that go from the deep hip and they go to your lumbar spine. A lot of you who have lower back pain, it's probably coming from your hip flexors. That's psoas, iliopsoas. When you're sitting, you're constantly staying tight. So we're going to open up these hips. So the way we do it, really important, you do exactly how I do this. Don't deviate, do exactly what I'm saying. Okay, roller under your legs, feet flat on the ground like this. We're going to lift our hips up, bring that roller to our sacrum, basically our S1, L5 disc joint. And I'm just going to sit here for a few seconds. I'm wiggling side to side on that sacrum. This feels nice. And you can shift up and down. There's so much happening in that sacrum. There's so much connective tissue. There's muscles. Everything is like inserting and just, there's a lot going on there. This feels really good. So I'm just going to sit here for another second or two. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do, I'm going to start with my right leg. I'm going to pull my right leg into my chest. I'm going to bring my arm around. Some of you may not have the flexibility to get this far in, but I take my other hand and I grab it. That left leg, I'm just going to let dangle here. I'm just going to wiggle side to side a little bit, opening up my left hip. So the muscle that's being worked is on my left side, that hip flexor, rectus femoris. And when we do this, I want you to bring your leg in by bending at the knee. I don't want you to bring the leg straight up because that will activate your hip flexor a little bit too much. I want to try to keep it minimally activated. We're just trying to open up that hip. Okay, let's change it up. So really important when we change it up, bring both legs into your chest, change the hand. I grab my other hand like this, grab that wrist. Now I'm just wiggling, getting deep into that psoas, iliopsoas, rectus femoris. These muscles on me are 100% of the reason why I get lower back pain. If I'm traveling and I don't get to do this for a few days, I really start feeling it, especially by sleeping on different beds. I've been traveling a lot lately, so I do feel it. I'm bringing this leg in again, bring it out. And I wiggle side to side a little bit, trying to visualize finding some space in this hip, trying to really open it up. Okay, now I'm just going to oscillate. I'm going to alternate my legs back and forth. That's one. Just going to go like this. Like I say, bend in the knee. Don't bring that leg up straight. Let's go back and forth a few more times. Some of you are going to feel popping and clicking when you do this. It's okay. Don't let that scare you. It's normal for most people, especially when this is the first time you do it. Out of all the things that I show you, this is the one thing I recommend everybody do every day, no matter what, if you can. All right. So now, getting out of this position, incredibly important again. One foot down. Other foot down, lift your hips up. I do not want you to ever bring both your legs down at the same time. It can cause too much shearing force in that lower spine. We want to keep that lumbar spine safe and healthy. All right, so that's just a little bit of foam rolling for today. Worked on that lower extremity, hip flexors, and we didn't get into the adductors today. We're going to do that another time, but that was just a little bit of lower extremity stuff, but remember that psoas, incredibly important. Work on that every day. All right, good job, guys. We're going to hit a workout soon, so I'll see you later.